What up, Wastelanders? Christopher here, Gaslands NorCal. Thanks for joining me once again for another conversion video. Now, over the past several weeks, several videos, I've been doing one sponsor after another, trying to get all of them done, and I'm down to just 3 more left. I've got Bernie, which I got some ideas for, kind of noodling around. I've got Scarlet, which I have an idea, but it's kind of a bigger process, so I just have to see what I can get my hands on. And also I've got the Warden, which is what we're going to be doing today. And for the Warden, we're going to be making it a 2-4. So for the Commissioner, we're going to be using this 86 Ford Thunderbird. And for the Prisoner car, we're going to be using this lowly 73 Honda Civic. Now I've got some ideas for what I'm going to be using for the bits and pieces, some of the wheels and weapons, everything else. So it should be a relatively smooth process. Famous last words. So, who's ready to walk the line like a man named Sue and get down to Folsom Prison? First things first, you know what we gotta do? We gotta get these babies apart. Get her into the strip. Alright, we're all primed up and ready to go. Just love the primer. Gray Sear, Citadel primer, spray primer. I think, to me, my opinion, works the best. So, for coloring for this Warden team, since this is going to be the Commissioner and this is going to be our Prisoner car, I kind of want to stick with some basic neutral colors, kind of like Sheriff colors. So for the Commissioner, we're just going to be going with the dark ivory. Just give it, one flat coat and everything, but I do have some really cool decals from Folsom State Prison, and this prisoner number is going to be going to the prisoner car. Bonus points if you know whose prisoner number this is. For the prisoner car, we're going to be doing some stripes. I'm going to be doing black and white and some thicker taping on this. I'm not going to paint it white. I'm just going to keep it the gray and kind of see how it turns out. I mean, if I painted it white, I would do a wash on it anyway. It would dull it down. So we're going to see how it turns out. If worse comes to worse, I'll just strip it down again and repaint it. But we're going to do the stripes going across the body of the vehicle. And like I said, thicker stripes, because I think if I did thinner stripes, it'd kind of look like a zebra. So let's get this taped up. We'll do black on here for the stripes, and we'll do a dark ivory for the Commissioner. So let's get it done. Alright, so we're all primed up, paint up, base coated, and like I said, the Monument Hobbies dark ivory, and then just do some of this coal black to do the stripes on the prisoner car. When I was taking the tape off, some of the primer underneath did come up. Not overly worried about that because there's going to be a lot of rust and grime and everything else, and it's got some cool chipping effects. So yeah, there's that. Next, I am going to go through and do a Agrax wash on both of them, wipe off all the excess and stuff. This is just to get the nooks and crannies and whatnot. We're going to let those dry, and then I'm going to go ahead and do the decals. Not a whole lot of decals going on. I'm going to stick the big decal for the Commissioner on the top, upside down, so on the top. The smaller ones I think will fit on the side pretty well, and then of course the prisoner car. If anybody's figured that out yet, I haven't decided whether I want to do the top or the front. Yeah, I'll kind of play around with it and see what I decide. So either the top or the front. Maybe the front. I don't know. We'll see. There's going to be rust. Anyway, so let's go ahead and get these Agraxed up, and then we'll get the decals on there, and we'll see what's next. Let's do it. Alright, so we're all together now. Got the decals all on there. The striping and stuff on the prisoner car turned out outstanding. I'm loving that. The decals turned out great. Decals on the Commissioner's car, outstanding, so smooth. The paint job of the Commissioner's car looks awesome as well. I went ahead and did some of the fine detail stuff, the headlights and the tail lights, but not too much stuff that you would be able to see. went through and picked out everything. And originally I was looking at having the commissioner car jacked up and the prisoner car jacked up, but then I was looking at it and that would put the prisoner car almost on the same level as the commissioner, and I don't think the commissioner would like that. So prisoner car is getting puny wheels to keep him down low. We got all the armor and bars and everything to put over the windows for the prisoner car. Gave him a ram. It should turn out pretty wicked. The machine guns that are going on the top are just these tiny little machine guns because it's just a prisoner. They're disposable. The commissioner, on the other hand, is going to get a big old machine gun coming out the side window. He's also going to get some kind of smoke dropper, oil dropper, whatever kind of dropper you want on the back. Nice ram. Haven't decided on any sort of armor or anything yet for the commissioner, but that's what the prisoner cars are for, right? So let's get everything all painted up. We're going to prime it in the black, dry brush it and everything, and then we'll start getting these two put together and tied with a nice old prison knot. Let's do it. Alright, so all the pieces and stuff are all painted up and dry brushed and everything else. Now, before we get them all together, I am going to go through and do some chipping. So I'm going to do with weathering in kind of a two-step process instead of kind of doing it all at once. So I'm going to chip everything up, and then we'll do the assembly, and then we will start looking at what kind of rust and corrosion we want to get on there. So let's chip it up, and then we'll get it together and reconvene. We are all assembled and put together and everything. Put together. Added some front wheel well armor for the commissioner. I'm loving that dropper, smoke dropper, oil dropper, whatever one you use. For the prisoner car, I also added some armor in the back, just because he's got to be armored all around. Because yeah, they're disposable, but still, you don't want to fill the landfill too much. So next, we're going to go through and do some rusting. I'm going to do a 4 or 5 step process for this. I'm going to start off with doing some same sponge method like I do when I do my chipping, but this time I'm going to use the orange oxide from the Adepticon edition of Monument Hobbies Pro Chrome. And that's going to give even some rust spots on the metal portion of the commissioner on here. And it's just a little bit of rust, but not so much like you've been laying out in the rain or in a barn or anything else. Then we're going to go through and do on some more select areas, do the Green Stuff World Rust Textures Medium Rust Oxide, really kind of just around the edges, on the bottom parts of a lot of the accoutrement, and that will give it more of a rough exterior. Once that's all dried, which it will take some time, make sure you let it dry, otherwise you're going to screw the next several steps up. Once it's all dried, we're going to come in with the dirty down rust and go over most of the portions of the Green Stuff World rust texture. And that's going to give us a darker, even more crustier, realistic looking rust effect. And then once that's all dry, again, make sure we wait for everything to dry. We're going to go through and hit it with some of the MIG dry brush rust. Say that 5 times fast. That's not going to take too long to dry, and then we're just going to go through and hit some areas with panel liner. You can use pretty much any panel liner you like. I've really been liking this AK panel liner. The applicator is better, the solution to me is better. But we're just going to hit it around the bottom areas of the rust, and that's going to give it an even more effective rust texture. Depending on how it looks, if it's too dark, I sometimes will go through and either sponge or really lightly dry brush with the Vallejo orange rust. Now this is the rust I used to use exclusively until I found all these other products. So let's get through all of that. We'll see how they look, and then we'll go from there. But I think we're pretty close to the goal line. all rusted and corroded and everything now, looking very cool. You can see the areas where I added a little bit of the Vallejo orange rust, just to bring out some of the high points and everything else. Now, when you're doing the Green Stuff World rust texture and the Dirty Down rust solution, it's important that you pick the right brush, because you don't want to use one of your new expensive fancy brushes. Not that those two materials will ruin your brush. They will in fact make it the only brush that you will be able to really use effectively when using that stuff, because they won't be able to be used for anything else after you use them. So they're not really ruined, they're just specialized after that. So make sure you pick the right brush. So next what we're going to do is we're going to go through and do a light dusting with the dark ivory from the Pro Acryl series. Just very, very, very light dry brushing. It's going to give it a kind of a dusty effect on all sides of the vehicles, really paying attention to the tires. That's going to make the treads and everything pop out. And for the final touch, we're going to go through and add the precision liner, both the black and the dark rust. We're going to do the black on the Commissioner. That's going to bring out the areas where the nooks and crannies are at, so you can show the doors and where the hood and everything is at. We're going to be doing the same thing on the Prisoner car, but we're going to be using the dark rust to make it more so look like these doors and everything, hinges, hoods, everything haven't been opened in years. So that's going to bring a totally different effect for each one. But first, let's get the dusting done, panel liner, glamour shots, finish line. Alright, and there we have it. An 86 Ford Thunderbird Pro Stock, all reconfigured and twisted out and maxed out and jacked up, changed up to the Commissioner for Folsom State Prison. We also have a 73 Honda Civic Custom, just barred up, rusted up, given some weapons, disposable, Prisoner B948. And if you look under Wikipedia for Prisoner B948 in Folsom State Prison, you will find Danny Trejo. Why Danny Trejo? Because I did a search on Wikipedia for famous Folsom State prisoners, and he was the first one I recognized. So, Danny, you're in a prisoner car for Gaslands, so for the Warden. Now, for the Warden, again, this is one of those groups, just like Beverly, where it's better off as a team. You can build prisoner cars for a reduced cost. The perks they get are aggression and badass. Aggression really can help out with crew-fired weapons, boarding party, so you can still attack after you've been in a collision because you're not distracted. Battle hammer, which makes you do more damage during a smash attack. Terrifying lunatic, grinder man, murder tractor, all great perks. Badass really helps out if you're going to blow up. Helps you get audience votes with crowd pleaser and road warrior. Cover Me and Madman really help you mitigate and kind of change up how you handle hazard tokens. And then there's Bullet Time, which is going to give you a turret effect anytime you resolve a slide. So some really cool perks. All in all, for my style of play, not too bad. I'm more of a Rutherford guy, but the Warden would be right up there. If you enjoyed this video, you learned something, do me a favor, hit that like button. My goal is to do weekly videos, whether they're vehicle builds, terrain builds, battle reports, whatever. So if that's for you, hit the sub button below and ring the bell to get notified when new content drops. I do sell all my builds pretty inexpensively on my Etsy page, so if you want to pick something up, see what else I've done, you can even request a custom build. If you'd really like to show some love, head on over to my Patreon page and get signed up. Every bit helps keep the paint flowing, the printer printing, and the camera rolling. Until next time, keep your foot on the gas and your finger on the trigger. Gaslands NorCal, signing out. This is Raven. Raven the kitty. That's Mikey in the background. Screaming for food.